Hi, Adam Pretorius here. I have a great video today. I have 4 top producing agents from different companies here in my local market, and we're going to talk about this insane market and get a little market update. So I'm excited to dive into this. Well, let's dive into kind of some fun questions here. So one thing like I've been debating is Realtor magazine says that we're in the Great Migration, that 1 in 3 Americans are going to be moving in the next couple of years. That's a lot of people. A lot. Yeah. So how do you see this market that's like the craziest I've seen in my 13 years? Where do you see, like, how long is this going to be? How long do you think it's going to continue?
The Great Migration is, I think, going to continue until everybody who can work from home has shuffled out into their ideal place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it seems like there's no place you have to be to work. You have your laptop. A lot of people can go anywhere they want, and now that's what they're doing. They don't have to be in the urban cities and high rises. And that's where you see the differences, where you have the lack of people there, and now we have more commercial in those areas, and people are going wherever they want. Yeah. And hopefully they come to Iowa, but we'll see.
I agree. I think there was an emotional and a professional awakening during the pandemic in which people realized being at home was possible. I think employers it was almost just understood that really was a special deal. So the way that people can mesh the two of being with their family, being where they want to be, and also being able to work from home really has opened up different opportunities for people.
I think the economics are at play too. There's a lot of people that are realizing they can have a high quality of life in an area that doesn't have such a high living price for homes.
Because the work barrier has been kind of broken down as people are working from home.
Yeah.
But do you think the interest rates rising are going to change this?
I think inventory is so low that buyers are still chomping at the bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you all, but my first interest was 6.5% on my house. So anything under 6 to me is like a sale, right? I think
we've been spoiled.
Millennials are in a difficult position because their age of consciousness has been like 3-4%, but like that's like record bottom. You know, I mean, you think back to the 80s, which is my younger years, and we were like, what?
Double digits.
18% or something?
Up to 18, yeah. It's a matter of perspective, I think, and you only know what you know and what you experience. And having to educate millennial or younger buyers regarding the interest rates and, you know, how big that affects or does, you know, or the difference between what it used to be and what it is, almost makes me feel super old trying to explain to them where it was and where it is. And, you know, that the few quarter points or half points or whatever that we're jumping up and down right now, you know, aren't as big of a deal as it may seem.
I do think it hits first-time home buyers harder because they don't have that equity built up in a pre-existing property. Right. So they are trying to look at how to bring cash to the table, and so rising interest rates hit them more.
Well, that's the hardest thing for them to compete in a multiple offer situation, don't you think? Because like they have no
they don't have any leverage. They don't have the
what I'm seeing a lot for first-time home buyers is they're competing against the baby boomers who are downsizing. So what you've got these first-time home buyers that are super excited to have their first home, and then you know you have somebody who has equity in the home that they're selling. They have more of a treasure trove of cash and flexibility in their offer process. And so it's really frustrating as buyer's agents where we absorb the emotions of everybody for these, you know, first-time home buyers who go from excited to completely destroyed all in a matter of hours. That's hard.
Yeah. I would say a lot of my network is first-time home buyers, just because of my age. So it's really frustrating when, you know, we're putting multiple offers in, but they're getting outbeaten because they don't have enough under their belt right now. So
and they look to us on how to react, I think. And so it's important, though we are frustrated and, you know, we're involved and invested in the process of them getting their home, that to keep our cool and, you know, just continue to encourage them to keep trying. But it's frustrating from our perspective. Timing and stuff.
But the one question I have is, since we use new builds as the basis to price resales, right? And that gap between the two is like the smallest, even though like
it is.
New builds have been increasing in price, resales have been increasing with them. But any resale that you put an offer on is going to have multiple offers now.
It's true.
And so you're going to have to waive things like Allye was talking about, like maybe inspections or an appraisal or this and that, and you're going to pay over asking. Like that's just guaranteed. But new builds, you're just paying the price that's there.
Yes.
And so I'm surprised at how many, in my experience, buyers are really still pushing the resales, but not looking at the new construction. So for example, I wrote an offer this weekend on a townhouse. It was $240,000. At the end of that street, they're building brand new ones for $265,000.
That's crazy.
There's 4 offers when I submitted mine, and I sold way over asking, but it's a $25,000 difference to just go buy new. And you might wait, another month or two for it to get done? Like, at what point, I mean, even if you need to just fill in that gap, do you call mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa or somebody and just get a small loan to help you? I mean, it just...
Yeah.
Maybe there's a lot of unknowns of if it's going to be completed. You know, is it going to be completed on time?
You think that's the biggest obstacle?
It's got to be.
I think it's one of the biggest anxieties that purchasers of new construction
If I don't have anywhere to go,
Right.
and I'm moving up to a townhouse or a condo, and my lease is ending in the end of July, that house better be ready for me. I don't want to move back in grandma's house or parents' basement. So you got to make sure that thing's dialed in.
And the builders are under a lot of pressure too, having to deal with, wanting to meet their deadlines for the buyers, but also having their hands tied by supply chain issues and whatever it may be.
And a bad thing is that everybody gets mad at that builder, and it's not their fault all the time. I mean, they're trying to get things done too. They'd love to get things turned over as well, but it's just not that easy.
There's a lot of buyers that don't like the idea of writing a contract on a new build that is still studs. They want to walk through it and see
Touch
it.
and feel it, yeah.
Even if you take them to a comparable property and say, hey, look, this is an example of the builder's work at the same price point. Your house isn't going to be exactly the same, but it should be similar to this. That's still very intimidating for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think immediate gratification is something that's a big thing with younger buyers.
And
they have sometimes a hard time seeing through a paint color. You know what I mean?
They want to make choices, and the way the market is right now, builders are like, no choices.
Yeah, it's true.
What you see is what you get. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Even if you want to change a little bit.
No, there's
You know,
nothing.
And it could be months and a delay depending on what it is that you want to change. So.
Okay, so one thing that's working for me right now is when we have a listing is putting a time in that we're going to respond to all offers by this day at this time, but we have 24 hours for all of our sellers to review everything, just so that, there's not a time restriction. You can get buyers in there, they can take a look. Then we have all the offers to present at one time, rather than, here you go, we have to respond now. I mean, it just gives
I really feel
more
the buyers
time.
agents are appreciative of that,
totally.
at least the feedback that I've gotten.
Yeah.
Thanks for at least letting us have the
Right.
opportunity to look.
And it gives the sellers,
A little breathing room. An opportunity maybe
to
for
see-
more money.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and see what can come in, and I know that they've really appreciated it, and it's helped us overall too. So that's been something that we've been like to do lately.
I have a lot of buyers saying, well, how far over list price do I have to go?
Yeah,
That's a
And
common question.
Last year, I found in my experience that, yes, we were going over list price a lot, but it wasn't like crazy town amounts.
Agreed.
It was $1,000 to a few $1,000s. This year, I'm finding that it can be up to 10% over list price.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I wrote an offer 75 over asking last weekend. I mean, that's a significant amount. But the unique thing is, I haven't had any appraisal issues this year. Like, I haven't. Like, I've been wondering how. I mean, last year the problem was the market just ramped up so quick, the appraisers couldn't find any comps.
Yeah.
But this year they have the comps from last year. They know the market's going down. They've had the experience of last year. And I've had a couple where I'm like, I'm not sure, and they still appraise. Like, I had one the other day, it was $16,000 over what my buyer paid. Above. I mean, that never happens.
And that went above asking?
It went above and it appraised
appraised higher
above.
than
That was what was a shock.
See, that's why it's tough to understand, and for buyers to understand.
Yeah.
We
It
should
is.
understand this more than anybody else, right? And it's trying to explain that to a buyer who's like, I mean, they're probably ecstatic, right?
Yeah.
Thank goodness. But
That's the stuff that keeps me up at night.
It
Like, I
does.
really struggle with having first-time home buyers that don't have a lot of liquid assets to make up an appraisal gap or whatever. And there's a part of me that just worries about them being, paying over the appraised amount in this market, and what's going to happen eventually. Like,
what is going to happen eventually?
what is that's a great question.
You can enlighten us all. That'd be amazing.
Well, I think that social media is a really great platform right now for definitely first-time home buyers and people kind of in my generation to find homes. Whether it's through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, those platforms.
TikTok.
Yeah.
You're selling real estate on
I am
TikTok?
trying to sell real estate on TikTok.
Do you have a TikTok?
I mean,
I don't, but I will say, how the hell could you not? I mean, it seems like you see it everywhere you go.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's
Transitions.
everywhere.
It is. So
Yeah.
when you scroll through, and it seems like, you need to go where the buyers are at.
Yep.
And that's where they're at.
yeah, yeah, it's fun, and everyone's addicted to their phones and
Oh my gosh.
seeing everything. So it's kind of fun to do a different platform and get that exposure through different places, whether, Facebook and Instagram, it's still there, but, TikTok's kind of up and coming as well as YouTube and other
Right.
video streams. So that's been fun, and that's kind of where I've been trying to aim my sphere is that, TikTok generation. But
May I ask you a question?
yeah.
What questions would a newer generation, I'm not in a newer generation anymore. I feel like I was at one point.
Those youngins.
Those youngins. But honestly, let's say first-time home buyers, you mentioned
Yeah.
that before. This is kind of like your wheelhouse. What questions do they have when it comes off of TikTok? What kind of questions do they have for real estate, for a professional?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of the questions I get is honestly just, how do I start? Where do I go? I mean, so, we have to talk about, hey, I could introduce you to so-and-so, like a lender in town, and kind of start there. And it's kind of just walking them through the whole process of how a transaction actually works. Because a lot of
So
people,
it's just getting the introduction, and
a
then
lot of
kind
people,
of.
and they just reach out and say, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Tell me a little bit more about this. I'm renting right now. I would love to buy eventually, but, I don't know where to start. So it's just kind of having that conversation and talking to them about and being honest and being truthful about, what this market's like right now, communicating that with them that, hey, I want to help you, but I need to set the expectations for if you want to buy, you really need to be serious about buying right now because of how our market is.
And also protect your time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be taking people
oh, yeah,
out that
for sure.
either don't quite get it or just want to tie your kick. And
Yeah.
honestly,
Very
when you're
wire.
showing 2 or 3 times as many houses to one
Yep.
buyer,
Yep.
your time is limited. Yeah.
New construction has been the vein of my existence this last year. The supply chain issues have just been a nightmare. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully the supply chain issues getting caught up. It used to take 6 to 8 months to build a house, and now it's 8 to 12, if not 12 to 14. It's just the delays have been incredible. One thing after another. So hopefully we get caught up by the end of the year. That's my hope.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing more people in person this year. That's
Yes.
I'm a
In
people
faces,
person
right?
in
Yeah.
faces. And what my goal is for this year in conjunction with that is to hold some first time home buyer seminars and help educate. I think that the consumers are super confused by the market itself, by everything that's happening right now, the interest rates and stuff. So I think since everybody's able to get out safely now, that I'm looking forward to helping to educate people no matter who they work with. I just feel like consumers kind of are just sitting there scratching their heads and trying to figure this all out, as are we as we go along. So
Right.
that's what
Yeah, I think, understanding the market and trying to have a more of a stable market to present to our buyers and sellers would be the perfect scenario, because then we can say, hey, this is what's going to happen, or this is where I see the trends are going. I want to have those conversations. I want to sit down with people, and it's tough when there's a lot of this. And is it going to do this? Is it going to do that? You know what? We don't have a crystal ball, but the best we can do is guide them as well as we can and the best we can, and be honest and open. And here it is. Jump in. We're going to take care of it. I'll be there for you. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it's not going to be
including us around this
Yeah,
table. We're all in this
exactly.
together.
We're all here working together.
Yeah.
You got a house, I got a buyer. That's why we collaborate. We
Exactly.
I need you to succeed. Yeah.
It's the number one thing to do is to help others, protect the public, and get out there and be the trusted real estate agent.
Yeah. Agreed.
This is good. This is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. For sure.